And let me show you what I'm talking about. So here's my little sketchbook, right? And so I've got postcard ideas. I have here some ideas that I came up with just quickly, like, hey, here's a quote I might use, something like this. And then I started doing like little sketches of what the logo is that I'm going to use. See? And then here, I decided, hey, this is the front, this is the back of my postcard. Here's an idea of what I want to do. And then the same thing here. Notice for the title of the text, I'm just doing some squiggles. We call that Greeking in the design world. And then for the logo, I just kind of put a box where I think the logo might go. Something like that. Cool. All right. So from there, then I am, let's get out of, we are not printing these. They will only live digital. So I'm going to start off with web here. And I am going to make them a custom size here. So instead of doing pixels, I want to do inches. And my width is going to be 6 inches, and my height is going to be 4. So I want a little 4x6 postcard. It's going to look something like this, right? I know that I'm going to need at least two, a front and a back artboards. I'm going to have a third one because I'm going to do a little kind of brainstorming session on one of those artboards. So you'll see that in a minute. We don't need to mess around here. We're going to leave it in RGB. Instead of having it at 72 pixels per inch, I'm going to move it up to a medium size 150 ppi right there. Awesome. Hit create. And now we have our 3 artboards ready for designing. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label this. This first layer is going to be my image layer. So I just double clicked in, typed image, hit return. And I'm going to do a file, place. Where is it? File, place, right here. Click. And I'm going to get this image off of my desktop. What did I call this? This is my, where is it? Oh boy. It is the Hidden Lakes. No, it's not Hidden Lakes. Oh, too much stuff going on here. It's a picture of my kids. That's something else. Alone Together JPEG. This is the one. Yes. Okay. And I'm going to place it in there. And now it's hooked to my cursor. And I'm just going to click a little bit off the page and drag and cover the entire page and then release. And now I have a minute to kind of center it on the page. Yeah, I want it to be somewhere in that range there. Actually, I kind of like it right there. Nice. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. Perfect. I like that image. I'm going to lock that layer so that image doesn't move. It can't be edited. And I'm going to create a new layer here. This button right here. I'm going to pull this up for you guys. New layer. And this layer, we might call this layer maybe, we could do a gradient layer is what I did. So, like that. And what I did is I took my eyedropper tool here and I dropped a color out of the sky here, which then puts it on my fill. See that? That creates a fill color that I want to use. I might make that a swatch. So if I have my swatches panel open, you can get that out. Window color, window swatches here, right there. Okay, and that'll open this panel. If this is selected here, this color, this fill color, and I go File, New Swatch, and I can say, hey, this is going to be my blue. I don't know. You can call it whatever you want. And then that'll put it right here. And we'll use that later. So what I want to do is I wanted to create like a kind of a fill gradient thing up here so that it's just more consistent because that's where our text is going to be. So I'm going to do this. I'm creating a box here. And right now that's just filled with that blue. And actually I want to pull that down right to the horizon line there. Like that. And out to the edges. What are you doing, Charlie? My dog is just sitting on my feet all of a sudden here. Um, okay, anyways, so with that, see how we have that going like that? What I want to do is I actually want to use this gradient tool here, and I want to create a gradient. See that? So all I did was click on this tool and then click on that box. Now it looks a little wonky. Here's why. Because we need to change this color. So this color needs to be our blue, and this color, so I'm double clicking on these, needs to be any color. I can make it white or whatever, but I'm going to go opacity of 0. So it's like clear, right? I'm going to take this guy and rotate it and make the clear side at the bottom. Come on. There we go. And I'm going to grab this little dot and pull it in. I want it to be like there. And I want this dot to go way up here. Something like that. I might pull this a little down. Oh, come on. No. This diamond here is how the gradient acts. And I just want to fade it down to the bottom here. I did like that. Let's take a look at that. This is a preview button here. I'm going to do a presentation mode. Yeah, I like the way that, see that, how that fade, it kind of gives us this nice clean edge here, and we might have to remove a little piece out of there. So let's do that. So her hat is a little weird there. Let's pull this whole thing down just a little more to cover that edge, and then let's fix her hat a weird color. What I want to do is I want to actually erase that. If you click and hold on your scissor tool, you'll see there's an eraser tool underneath there. Click that. Make the brush size bigger or smaller using your brackets. Smaller is the left bracket, bigger is the right bracket. And you're just going to click and drag, and I'm just trying to go around close to the edge here, and then do this. Boom. A little spot there still. Just doing a little touch up. That looks pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good. Yeah. Good. Awesome. So now I have my gradient, and so now that top part is this nice, like, kind of clean surface for me to type on. So I'm going to lock in my gradient. Boom. And next, I want to, let's put a little bit of text up in there. So let's get a new layer, and let's call this our text layer. Boom. And the text I'm going to use my type tool here, my T for type tool. I'm going to do a single click to get some type started. And I'm going to say, no matter how far you go, ... And that's going to be, I'm going to highlight that. So double click it in to highlight it. And I think I want to use, let's see, where is it? Which one? The satisfy. Yeah. Satisfy regular. And I actually downloaded that. I installed that. So you might not have that in there, but you can get it if you want it. How did I do that? Well, I clicked here and I said, hey, I want to, let's see, I want to find more. And then I said, activate Adobe fonts. Nope, that's not what I clicked. Find more, and then, man, I'm off my game today. I didn't do that. I didn't go there. I went here. I went, type more from Adobe fonts, and that'll open this. You'll have to sign in. Oh, I'm already signed in. Good. Okay. So that brings me to the Adobe Type Kit, which is a web page, and you can see a lot of fonts here, and you can even sort them. And then you click on View Family, if I wanted this font, and then I can say Activate, and then it'll pop open in Illustrator back here. Yeah, so that's what I did. So I found satisfy regular ahead of time. That looks good to me. I'm going to increase the size. Let's go to 24 point for now. Maybe a little bigger. Let's go 36. And I'm going to grab my selection tool. V is a shortcut for that. I'm just going to move it in here. Let's move that over. That's a little big actually now. So let's double click that again and maybe just slowly go down until I find what I want. Maybe 32. That might work. If I slide that over, kind of fills the space and leaves a little space over here for my logo. It's maybe still a little big. Let's go down to 30. There we go. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Okay. I'm going to double click in again and notice it's black here. I actually want it to be white. So I click this little button, which is the like default fill and stroke. And then I'm going to leave the I'm going to leave the stroke as white, which is actually going to be the main chunk there. But this fill color, I want to turn that off. Oh, I did it backwards, like that. There we go. That's what we want. All right. I like that so far. So far, so good. Okay. Now, the next step is that I wanted to create like a little logo that I put in the corner here. A logo like basically for like, let's say I was making like a postcard company. And so that's what I'm going to use this little spot for. And I'll show you how I go about it. I'm going to start, and I already made some sketches in my notebook, which I showed at the beginning. And now I'm going to take some of those ideas and kind of flush them out. And I'll show you how I do that. I'm going to get into my type tool, and I'm going to start by typing. And I think I'm going to start with just a basic font, a Helvetica bold maybe. Helvetica is a really standard sans serif, so it's a font with no little loops on the ends, right? So it's very squared off. It's easy and legible, easy to read, legible, and it's one of the most standard fonts you can get. And I'm going to start with a B and an F. So my thought process was that I was going to create a company called Best Friend Cards or something like that. So that's what the B and the F stand for. Yeah. And first thing I'm going to do is I actually am going to take these and use my selection tool and select them, and then go into type and create outlines. And so now what I've done is I've created it so the B and the F can be separated. So if you use your direct select tool, you have it here or here, right? So I can select each thing. So some of my sketches, some of the ideas I had were to kind of merge these two together. So if I select just the B, like I can totally move him around and mess around and figure out how I want to adjust him. And then same with the F. Somehow I want to put them together. And so I kind of thought like, well, what if I did it like this or something like this, like this? The thing I realized is that they both have this main stem through the middle here. And so I thought, well, what if they kind of use the same stem together? So if I go Object, Transform, and I reflect it over the vertical line here, now my B is flipped backwards, and I can overlap them to use the same stem like that. Something like that. So that was my first thought. Okay, so I kind of like this. I'm going to select the whole thing, and I'm going to go to Option, click, and drag with my regular selection tool, sorry. So select the whole thing, Option, click, and drag, and I just duplicated it. See that? Duplicated it. And so now I'm going to start playing around and seeing how I can change it and make it into something even more. So I'm going to select it, and maybe using my Pathfinder tool. Where are you, Pathfinder? I don't see you. Window, Pathfinder, here. Oh, he was down there. I didn't even see him. Okay. And I'm going to merge them together. So unite, which makes them into a single piece altogether. See that? And then I'm going to say, hey, what can I do? Maybe I want to shorten a part of this. Use my direct select tool maybe and grab this guy and click and maybe move this shorter, maybe this shorter, something like that. Interesting, maybe. Okay, grab it again, duplicate it. Now I have two. I'm going to merge these two together. Maybe I only want to make this part shorter. Select those two, left arrow, a little shorter. Okay, maybe. Okay, duplicate it again. Okay, one thing I'm noticing, I'll do this again, is that it's very square, but we have these nice round curves here. Well, so what if we start curving some of these lines? If I click in, and I'm going to zoom closer to that, and if I click into this, and you can see these little dots here, if I pull on these dots, everywhere where there's a dot turns into a curve, like that. Interesting. Do I like that? I don't know. Does it matter? Right now it doesn't. Grab this one, duplicate it again. Okay, so you can see I keep repeating the same process here. Now with this one, what if instead of making all of them curvy, what if I clicked on one point and pulled that one point down, and clicked on one point here and pulled this one point down? Interesting, that's a little different. Okay. So now you can see I have 5 different versions, and I can continue doing this. Oh, did that kind of weird. Use this tool. Right? And so I can continue this process until I find something that I kind of like. What if I did this and, I don't know, what if I curved, what if I did this and curved this inside part? Oh, not like that. I did that already. What if I do it like this and this? And now that B is kind of unique. Interesting. Kind of like that. Let's duplicate that one. So now what if I did that and maybe curved these curves over here? What if I did, let's see. So this kind of matches this. Oh, I kind of like that. There we go. There we go. I like this. Yeah. I might grab this whole thing and just shorten it. Like that. Oh, I like that logo. Okay. Now, we could continue going. You could get an ellipse tool and see, okay, if I like this, let's try it once. We'll try this. Okay, so maybe I like this one. Duplicate this one. Okay, what can I do to this now? Well, what if I took an ellipse tool and started in the center and option click dragged out and made a circle with no fill and a black stroke, and now that could be part of the design. Maybe I like that with a little circle. Okay. Yeah, you could do a square on this. You could try some different things. Okay, you could even, oh, here's an idea. What if I did this? What if I grabbed that and duplicated this whole thing? And now I said, hey, instead of doing it like that, what if we did a fill? So if I click on just the circle part here and flip this double arrow. Charlie, stop. He's being annoying. I'm trying to do a video here, dude. It's my dog, Charlie. He is pretty needy. Okay, so what if we played with the opacity on that black there? So I got to get refocused here. So yeah, with that black selected, we can go here and reduce this down and say, hey, now instead of being on a black circle, we have a thin black or a gray line around it. That's kind of interesting. Okay, you guys get the idea here. So now I've basically taken all these logo ideas and say, okay, which of these do I like out of all these? Let's just Just increasing the size of these a little bit. They're pretty small. Okay, so let's just say for the sake of time, I'm going to take this one and say that's my favorite. So I'm going to do a Command C for copy and bring that up and place that logo into my design up here. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to say, hey, in my, oh my gosh, my dog is being annoying. I'm going to lock up my text layer, make a new layer, and call this my logo layer. Logo, boom, and I'm going to paste it in. There's my logo. And let's grab that logo with my selection tool, put him in the corner, and do a shift drag out to increase the size. I think something like that might look good. Like that. Okay. Now let's flip that. I don't want it to be black. I want it to match the white here. So I just go here and click here. And now we have a white. There we go. Okay, I can live with that. One thing I'm noticing that I would like to fix. Actually, I think I'm gonna go back and increase the length of this. I don't like it that short anymore. So I'm just increasing that length. Something like that. Yeah, I like that better. And I think what else I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna create another text box right here. Just a tiny little text box that's gonna be like an 8-point font, maybe less, maybe a 7-point. And it's going to be Helvetica light, and I'm going to type what? Cards for friends. Kind of like a little tagline. I'm going to highlight that and do an Option up arrow to tighten it up. Do you see how that tightened it? Is that legible? Nope, it is not. Oh, one down. Still a little too big. So I'm going to select it like that and go down to a 6, 5, there we go, 5-point font, and see, I think it does need to be a little tighter. There we go. That's it. That's it. I like it like that. Change this to white. There's my little slogan with its slogan right there. I'm sorry. That's a logo with a little slogan, Cards for Friends. And that's Best Friends. That's the company name or whatever. There's something bothering me. Let's look at that. See this right here? There's like a weirdness in the shape there. See it? Okay, so let's smooth that out. So I'm going to use my direct select tool. Select this guy here. Get my smooth tool. It's right underneath here. Smooth tool. And just run it across here one time. So just see that? I think that worked. Actually, it made it a little wonky right there. Command Z undoes it. Let's try a different technique. Pen tool, delete anchor point. I think this is just an extra anchor. Delete that anchor. Clicked it. I think that smoothed it out. Look at that. That's nice. Okay, good. Let's back out. There we go. Okay, Cards for Friends. Awesome. I think that's the front right there. That's done. Let's preview that. Presentation mode. That's the front of my card. No matter how far you go. Nice, yeah. Okay, escape button gets me out of that. And so now all we need to do is start building this back of the card now. So sliding over here, here's the back, right? So Command R turns my rulers on. And if you click on this little corner spot here and click and drag it out, and pull it to this corner, it'll reset your rulers. So now 0 starts here instead of on that other one. So this is 6 inches. I am going to grab a ruler out here, click and drag, and half of 6 is 3. And I'm going to put that's a guide. That won't show up for any prints or anything, but what it will do is give me a sense of where the center of my postcard is. And that's important because I want to use a line tool here and draw a line down the center from top to bottom. I'm going to hold shift and drag it down here. And I want to give that a little color. I'm going to put a stroke on that. Maybe a 1-point or 2-point stroke. Oh, 2 might be too much. 1 looks like the right one. right amount. Now, I think I want to click here and I want to change that color to this blue that we used. And now that's going to kind of use a color that's going to pull it across from this side to the back side. So let's take a look at that. Yeah, I think that'll work. Okay, I'm going to then actually grab this line tool and repeat that process. I'm going to hold shift and click and drag like that. I'm going to grab my selection tool and I'm going to hold option, click and drag and hold shift and kind of, let's see how, maybe like right in there, and repeat again. See how I'm doing that? Where was that? There it is. One more. I think that looks about right. Grab all of those and just nudge them down. And something like that. I think there. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to change my circle tool to a rectangle tool. And I'm going to click one time. And I know that I want a 0.75 inches by 0.75 inches and hit OK. And that creates this rectangle. Ooh, I don't know if that's correct. That looks too big. Maybe not. I could be wrong. Let's put that in the corner there. And then I'm going to actually make a text box and click, and it's going to say place postage here. This. And I'm going to select that box, and I'm going to say, hey, that probably needs to be like a 7 or 8 point, probably 8 point. And it's going to be a Helvetica regular, and I am going to space it back out like that, and I want it to be aligned center here. Let's move that over there. Oh, it's not big enough. Let's go a little bigger on that. 8 point, 9 point, 10 point, space it out a little more. I think that looks good. Center it on the square. Select it, Command A selects it, and change this black to this blue. Let's see how that looks. That looks pretty good. Yeah, you know what? You know what I want to do? I want to do all caps. Click it, and under your character panel here, you can get a character panel here or over here. They're the same. Click, and this button here, all caps. Oh yeah, I like that better. That's a lot better, yeah. Okay, I think one last thing, we'll wrap this up. So I think one thing that needs to pull across on both would be to grab my logo from here, click. I'm going to click both of these. So I clicked the little piece, shift click the logo part, and I'm going to do a shortcut. It's called grouping. I want to group this together. You could do an object group, or the shortcut is Command G, and that makes it so it's one piece. So now when I click on this, they both get clicked, and I'm going to do an option, click, drag, and put it in the same location over here. Now it looks weird, right? Well, guess what? Let's bring in the fill color here and drop that opacity down. Maybe half, 50%. I kind of like that. Actually, I wonder how that would look if we did that 50% here too. Let's try that. I kind of like that on both. Look at that. Look at that. Awesome. I think that looks really good. So front of the card, back of the card. Now this page was just like a rough draft of sketching out logos, right? So one, I could select all of these and delete them. Oh, that layer's locked. Oh, I totally messed up one thing. Okay, let's get this. Let's get this deleted. So delete that. Let's remove that artboard. Here, this is my artboards. That's artboard 3. We can delete that out. Good. Okay, I messed up my layers. Look, I have my logo stuff all on there, but I also have all this other stuff on this. So let's lock the text. Let's make a new layer, and that new layer should be called back. And let's lock my logo. Actually, I can't lock my logo. Unlock my logo. What we're going to do is select all this other stuff here, click on our layers, and move this logo stuff to the back. So now that's on the back layer. Lock that down. And that's on my logo layer. Lock that down. And we don't need that guide anymore. So I'm going to go View, Guides, Hide Guides. Get this out of the way. Oh, this is weird. Okay, I need to unlock one thing. Unlock that back. Just noticed that this line is too short. That's better. A lot better. I think I could add another line to this too, but that's all right. We'll leave it like that. Awesome. So lock that back down. That looks like a final product. Let's check this here. Presentation mode, back, front. Just using my arrows to go across. That's kind of a nice little card, right? Postcard. Send it to a friend. Okay, perfect. Now we need to save this file. Save as. And I'm going to just call this my last name dot postcard. And I will post a video on how to turn this in. I'm going to just put it on my desktop for now. Keep it as an Illustrator file. Save. All right. In the next video, I'll show you how to hand it in. Enjoy the process of creating. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys create. Thank you, and see you next time.